Corn, potatoes, beans, so many foods we eat today began with Native American traditions. Yet most people forget their true origins. From hearty succotash to sweet cranberry sauce, these dishes shape what we now call American cuisine. Today we'll revisit 10 Native American recipes that nourished entire civilizations. Before we begin, hit like and subscribe to keep these stories alive. Coming in at number 10, Piki bread, also called Hopi blue cornbread. Picture a smooth stone heated until it glows, a woman's hand moving with practiced grace, spreading a whisper-thin layer of blue corn batter in one swift stroke. Within seconds, it sets soft and translucent like rice paper. This is Piki bread, a sacred skill among the Hopi passed from mother to daughter across generations. Its taste is delicate, slightly nutty from the blue corn, with a faint mineral note from the ash mixed into the batter. But more than flavor, Piki is memory-made edible. Each sheet was layered, carefully stacked into bundles for ceremonies, weddings, and community feasts. To eat it was to taste heritage, a bond as fragile and enduring as the bread itself. Why don't we see it now? Because it takes years to master and no shortcut exists. In a world that prizes convenience, Piki's artistry nearly vanished. Yet for those who've witnessed it, the sight of batter becoming bread in a single graceful sweep is unforgettable. Don't forget to subscribe for more nostalgia and retro memories. Coming in at number 9, Wojapi berry sauce, made for sharing. Imagine a pot simmering low on the stove filled with chokecherries, juneberries, or wild blueberries breaking down slowly until they turned into a deep velvety sauce. Sweetened just slightly with honey or maple syrup, Wojapi wasn't spread thin like jam. It was ladled generously over fried bread, roasted meats, or eaten by the spoonful when no one was watching. For the Lakota and Dakota Sioux, this was more than dessert. It was a tradition that filled kitchens with the smell of berries while children ran in and out and elders told stories around the fire. The sauce clung to the tongue, lingered in memory, and left stains on hands that seemed like badges of honor. Why did it fade? Because store-bought jellies and mass-produced syrups replaced the patient simmer of homemade Wojapi. What was once a communal act of gathering and cooking became something squeezed from a plastic bottle. Three sisters: stew, blue corn, mush, Cherokee, bean bread, Navajo, mutton stew, Ojibwe, wild rice, and maple chicken, bison chili, acorn bread, salmon on cedar, and now Wojapi 9 dishes, each tied to land and memory. Which of these first 9 would you most want to taste again? Coming in at number 8, salmon on cedar planks. Picture a river in the Pacific Northwest, the air damp with mist, canoes pulled onto the banks, and a fire glowing as twilight falls. Fresh-caught salmon was split-pinned to cedar boards with wooden stakes and leaned toward the flames. As the fish cooked slowly, the cedar's natural oils seeped into the meat, weaving wood smoke and richness into a flavor so bold it needed no seasoning at all. This wasn't just a meal, it was a performance. Families and neighbors gathered around the fire, sharing stories, laughter, and songs while the salmon roasted in plain sight. Each bite carried the taste of water, wood, and flame, all mingled into one unforgettable experience. Why don't we see it often now? Because restaurant culture and packaged seafood replaced the outdoor ritual. Grills and foil took the place of cedar boards and riverbank. Yet nothing compares to the taste of salmon kissed by smoke and cedar, a dish that was both sustenance and ceremony. Coming in at number 7, acorn bread. Picture the oak trees you walk past in autumn, their branches heavy with acorns dropping to the ground. For California tribes like the Miwok and Pomo, those acorns weren't just forest litter, they were the beginning of bread. Families gathered them, cracked the shells, and leached the bitter tannins in flowing water, sometimes leaving baskets by stream beds for days. What remained was a fine, fragrant flour that smelled faintly nutty, earthy, and sweet. Mixed with water, sometimes berries or honey if the season allowed, the dough was baked in clay ovens or beneath hot coals. The result was dense, rustic bread with a flavor no store-bought loaf could imitate. It wasn't soft or fluffy, it was sturdy grounding, the kind of bread that carried you through lean times. Why did it disappear? Because wheat flour, quick and plentiful, pushed it aside. Grocery shelves made bread an easy grab, while acorn bread demanded patience and knowledge passed through generations. Still, every slice carried the memory of survival and a direct connection to the land. Coming in at number 6, bison chili with chokecherry sauce. Picture a pot bubbling at the center of a powwow, the air heavy with the scent of roasted peppers, beans, and lean bison meat. Unlike beef bison, carried the taste of the open plains, wild, hearty, and lean. Into this robust chili came the chokecherries, tart little fruits that cut through the richness like a lightning bolt. Simmered with honey or maple syrup, they transformed the stew into something unforgettable, sweet, savory, and bold all at once. This wasn't just dinner, it was fuel for warriors, warmth for winter nights, and celebration, food for gatherings that stretched late into song and story. Every spoonful carried both fire and fruit, tradition and surprise. So why did it fade? Because modern chili leaned on beef and tomatoes, leaving behind the wild berries and bison that once defined it. Convenience replaced ritual, and the depth of chokecherry was lost in the shuffle. If you're enjoying this trip, hit like and subscribe for more. Your comments keep these memories alive. Drop yours below. Coming in at number 5, Ojibwe wild rice and maple chicken. Close your eyes and picture the Great Lakes at dusk, the wind through pine trees, the ripple of canoes on the water. That's the world this dish belongs to. Wild rice, technically an aquatic grass, was hand harvested from canoes with paddles, each stroke careful not to harm the plant. Cooked until nutty and chewy, it carried the essence of the lakes. Now add chicken glazed in pure maple syrup, roasted until the skin turned crisp and caramelized. The sweet mingled with the earthy rice, making a plate that felt like a hymn to the forest. Families gathered around firesides to share it, elders telling stories as smoke and maple drifted in the air. It wasn't just food, it was belonging. Why don't we see it often now? Because wild rice harvesting declined and maple syrup became a supermarket product, stripped of ceremony. But once this was a meal that tied people to their land and to each other. Coming in at number 4, Navajo mutton stew with hominy. Imagine a heavy pot simmering for hours under the desert sky, the scent of lamb, onions, and dried chilies weaving through the air. This stew wasn't fast food, it was a ritual born from patience and respect. For the Navajo sheep were more than livestock, they were life itself. Every cut was used, every meal shared. The flavor of mutton is richer and bolder than lamb, almost gamey in the best way. Paired with hominy corn kernels treated through nixtamalization, it became a dish that stuck to the ribs and strengthened the spirit. You didn't just eat Navajo mutton stew, you sat with it, tearing pieces of flatbread to soak up the broth, letting it carry you back to nights under endless stars. So why is it rarely seen today? Because tastes shifted. Beef became the meat of choice, lamb turned into a delicacy, and hominy slipped from most kitchens. But in its time, this stew was survival and celebration in equal measure. Coming in at number 3, Cherokee bean bread, also known as tuya. Picture a family gathered around a fire pit, hands busy with corn husks and bowls of mashed beans. This wasn't fancy food, it was humble, practical, and deeply tied to Cherokee life. Cornmeal mixed with beans was carefully wrapped in husks or leaves, then steamed until soft and dense like a cousin to the tamale. The taste was earthy, hearty, and complete in itself. You didn't need butter or seasoning. The warmth and texture carried all the comfort you could ask for. Bean bread wasn't just eaten, it was shared. Families brought bundles to community feasts where everyone knew whose bread was whose. Fresh from the husk with steam still clinging to your fingers, it was food that told a story in every bite. Why did it fade? Because industrial bread, yeast loaves, and processed flour took its place. The slow steaming process, once central to gathering, simply couldn't compete with store-bought speed. Still, Cherokee bean bread lives on as a memory of togetherness and resourcefulness. Three Sisters stew, blue corn mush, and Cherokee bean bread, 3 dishes born from corn and community. Which one would you bring back to your table if you had the chance? Coming in at number 2, blue corn mush. Imagine the first light of dawn in New Mexico when farmers and shepherds rose before the Sunday. Their breakfast wasn't cereal in a box or eggs on toast. It was a steaming bowl of blue corn mush, thick, smoky, and surprisingly filling. This dish began with stone-ground blue cornmeal mixed with juniper ash to unlock hidden nutrients and give it a mineral edge modern taste buds rarely recognize. The flavor was nutty and deep, with a faint smokiness that lingered on the tongue. Families gathered around simple bowls, children spooning it hot before running off to chores, elders savoring each bite as if it carried centuries of memory. And if you let it cool overnight, it transformed into something firmer, almost like cake, ready to eat again the next morning. Why did it fade? Because convenience replaced ritual. Instant oatmeal, sugary cereals, and drive-through breakfast swept in, and the slow art of cooking mush at dawn was left behind. Yet for generations, this was fuel for labor crafted to last from sunrise to moonlight. If you're enjoying this trip, hit like and subscribe for more. Your support keeps these stories alive, just like the blue corn mush once kept families strong. Coming in number 1, Three Sisters stew. Picture a pot simmering slowly over an open fire, the air thick with the aroma of corn beans and squash, 3 crops that were more than food, they were survival. For centuries, native families planted them side by side. The corn grew tall and strong, the beans climbed its stalks, and the squash spread low, shielding the soil. Together they formed a harmony that fed not just the land but entire communities. The stew itself was hearty, earthy, and sweet all at once. Corn gave it body, beans brought strength, and squash added warmth. It was a kind of meal that filled you in the harshest winters and comforted you during the harvest season. Every spoonful carried both nourishment and memory stories told, under stars brighter than any electric light. Modern diets have pushed it aside, replaced by canned soups and fast food, but Three Sisters stew still holds a power that science is only now catching up to complete nutrition in its simplest form. Back then, it was never just dinner. It was a tradition in every bite, a reminder that balance between people and land was possible and delicious. The journey through these 10 Native American recipes shows us that food is never just about taste, it's about survival, memory, and identity. Each dish carried families through winters, harvests, and celebrations, weaving culture into every bite. Though many have faded from our tables, their stories remain alive in the land and in our history. Which recipe would you most like to try or bring back? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to subscribe for more nostalgic journeys into America's forgotten flavors.